Okay. Yeah.
Uh,
Like,
so I tried this calculator logic I've written in a paper. So I didn't understand if I have to write it in HTML, CSS and the whole procedure or just the logic. So I wrote the logic as of now.
mhm. Okay, great. So yeah, we will do it. So you will do it like in your free time. Let's. So what we are going to do today is like we are going to create a registration page where we will have the input like many different input fields like the name, first name, last name, phone number, and then you have what you have the email address and
Mm.
address and anything else, and then you have the submit button which will essentially, call the submit function. So yeah, so that is what we are going to do today. The first thing would be to like create a simple HTML form. I'll give you the fields. Can you give me control?
Oh, sure.
Just you know the basics for HTML, right?
Yeah.
We're seeing some lag in the network. Okay, continue. Can I save it on the desktop if it's not an issue?
Mm.
We've got to save the text file. Yeah, so you have I wrote the fields. Now let's start create a simple HTML page where we have all these as input fields. And then I'll tell you how to like add the script and write the JavaScript for this.
Okay.
So like you can start writing the HTML code for this. Let me start like
The type HTML. 1 minute, Sumendra. I wanna change my screen to bigger one. 1 second.
mhm.
Yeah. Get it.
Yeah, where was it? Yeah.
Um. Can you check if you can write?
So if I can what?
If you are you able to type?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I'm able to type.
Okay, it's not I mean, it's not happening. 1 second. Now you try. Hello.
Yeah, it's not opening up.
It's not opening, right? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So so you can see in the screen right now you have this very
Yeah.
simple
Mm.
template where you can write your sorry where you can write your HTML. Now what I want you to do is write. Yeah, let me just create one for you, and then you can create the rest. So 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 you can see right. So you have this simple form, and okay, let me instead of doing it a paragraph, let's do it each one. Like a little better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a simple form. So I've created like one field. Now you
Mm.
can go ahead and create the rest of the fields in a similar fashion, like last name, phone number, email address, etc.
Okay. We don't need break here, right? Oh, only if we want. Okay. Okay. Mhm. For submit button, what do we use? Is it like input or
No, it's a BU, like the in the Angular brackets you write button.
okay? That's it.
Yeah, and then write whatever you want to put in the button, which is submit, and then
Mhm.
close this tag.
Oh,
Okay,
um,
yeah, so we are done, right?
so if I want to increase the size of the submit button, size of this button,
Yeah, if you want to increase the size of this button, right? So
see,
for that you have to use a little bit of CSS. I'm not using the CSS right now, but let me just see. So you know what this is? This is Chrome DevTools.
yeah,
Yeah, so from here we can quickly like check what styles have been applied and stuff, and we can also apply the styles.
okay.
Like we go to this button, let's say, oh, okay, Mm. So you can see like using this width and height, I can increase the height also.
Yeah.
Using this width and height, you can control it. But generally, now I have given the input in pixels. Okay. Generally, we don't give that in pixels because what happens, because our UI needs to be responsive to different screens. So let's say if you are using on laptop, then maybe 32 pixels is fine. But let's say if you're going on phone and if you give 32 pixels, then it will cover the entire screen of the phone. So that is not required. So instead of that, we use different things like we use rem, or sometimes we use em, sometimes or we sometimes use percentage also, like height equals to, let's say, 50%. So 50% basically means 50% of the viewport height. So if the height of the viewport is something, then 50% of that will be taken. So this is like all, what, how we write responsive CSS. And this is not like React, but I just wanted to, since you asked the question, I just, explained. Okay, now one thing here is, okay. So here you have like different things. Okay, but we know that the data type for each of them is different. Like the first name should be a string. Okay, and password, okay, you don't have password. Um, and yeah, phone number should be a like number, it shouldn't be a string, right? So you can actually we will do all those validations also in JavaScript, but we can actually also enforce it through HTML only, to show you how.
Mm.
So you have this input, um yeah,
Input type equal to something.
yeah, so you can do that, and just for the phone number we require this type equals to number. And for this email, we can also write type equals to email. Email is also a kind of a type,
Oh,
not a JavaScript type, but it's
mhm.
custom provided by HTML.
Okay.
Now you can go to the phone number. Okay, I haven't saved it. You can save it and refresh it. Now if I type, so you can type this string, that's why we will require this JavaScript validation. But the intended thing is that it's a number, like you can provide some number here. And yeah, so let's start with the JavaScript part. So as you can see, like we created this form, but it's just a form, it doesn't do anything. One thing is like, one thing we want to do is like when we click on submit, something should happen. Yeah, and other thing that we want to do is like, for the sum of the fees, for example, phone number, we don't want any string, we just want numbers, right? So yeah, and then we may also want to check like the first name or last name should not be empty or stuff like that. So these are some of the things we can do with JavaScript, and that's what we are going to do. So now to write a JavaScript, and there are two ways to include the JavaScript in your HTML. Are you aware of that?
No.
One, yeah, one would is like to link the Java. You create a separate JavaScript file and link it to your HTML file. That is one way. The other way is to use the script tag. Okay. So
Oh, yeah, script tag. I probably we have used that script tag.
yeah. So, so we'll start with using the script tag, and then after once our code runs, what we'll do is we will basically transfer all the contents to the separate JavaScript.
Okay.
Um, so let's type the script. So one thing that we want to do is that since this is a form, we should enclose it in the form that and
So since we are using JavaScript script tag, we are using form.
no, no. You can use anything, but if since this is a form, it should be like enclosed in the form. Otherwise, some what problem will happen is like when you start to write some code in some any framework, it will think that this all these input boxes are like separate elements. They are not connected to one another. When you enclose the entire thing in a form tag, then like okay, fine, this is all connected. So yeah, I can like for example, what I want to tell here is let me just give you an example, you'll understand better. Um, so if you have so in the form you have this attribute called name.
Yeah.
So you in the form you can write name equals to sorry. In the form you can write name equals to registration. Then what you can do, and for each input, you can also give the name. Like for example, this is first name. So yeah, so you read about DOM. I told you about DOM yesterday.
Yeah. So what I understood is
Yeah. So like there are like two ways to access if you want to access like what's the value of the this first input field for first name. One thing you can do is like you can give an ID to this input. Then you can do document.getElement by ID, and that way it can find out. The other way is like since we have this form and we have a name to the form, then what we can do is that we can write a document dot registration dot first name. Now, the only reason why this works is because we have enclosed it in the form. So JavaScript recognizes that this is like a single entity, and inside registration there must be an input field called first name. If we have not enclosed it in a form, then definitely we can't use it. Then we have to use document.getElement by ID. Now, there's no harm in doing that, but that is not a advisable thing because then what happens is it considers each and every element to be a separate entity, which is
oh,
actually not the case. Yeah, so even if it considers separate entity, we can still do our work, but that's not a recommended approach.
okay.
Okay, so yeah, what I was trying to do. Yeah, let's first connect our submit button to some function. Yeah, click equals to. We call this method, and now we have to like define what is this function submit. Function submit. And what we want to do is we just want to alert like form submitted. Let's see if this works. Okay, well, what's this at? Okay, something happened. The alert did not. So it should alert, right? Um, are the pop-ups not available? Like, what's happening? Let me check. Okay.
After
And so in JavaScript, for system.out.print, you have console log.
okay,
So I'm just checking if the submit method got called because it should show
alert.
some kind of, yeah, it should show alert, but I can see something happening like transaction available or something on clicking, but I don't know if the pop-up is disabled or something maybe.
Did you
Mm,
save it here?
sorry, come again.
Did you save it here in Sublime?
Oh yeah, no, no, it's like this. Okay, yeah, it's not getting connected. So but
Mhm.
otherwise we'd have got a console log here. Right. Let's check what's wrong with our code.
Regarding this submit function, why are we writing it in the script? Is it because it's related to JavaScript we are writing it there, or
Yeah,
can we?
because no, we can't write it in the HTML part because it's a JavaScript code.
Okay, so after ending the body, can we write the script?
Yeah, yeah, you can write there also. Yeah. Is it like
So for alert, it says window.alert or window.prompt should be used.
no, it should work like this also. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just checking. There must be some kind of small error that we might be losing. And let's do an alert outside to check.
Okay.
Mm, yeah. Okay. So we know that we are reaching the script, but somehow the function is not getting called. So this is also a kind of a lesson for you, like how we go about debugging JavaScript codes.
Mhm.
So yeah, so this you will do like a lot of time. Generally, like someone, if you have worked on the backend, they start straight away start system.out.print without realizing that the control here can be like in many different places.
Okay.
So most likely this is not getting called button on click. So this should not be okay. I have written this in JSX. It should be it should not be camel case. Remove this one. Mm. Do you see any error somewhere? Like, not able to see any error. I don't know why the submit is not getting fired. It's where entering the JavaScript code.
I'm trying to find how are we supposed to write submit button apart from this way.
Mhm. Yeah. So one way for the submit button, yeah, we can use this form on submit here also. So instead
Mm.
of associating the on-click event listener here. So this on-click, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you about event listeners. So in JavaScript, you have event listeners. For every element, you can associate an event listener to it. So some event listeners are like, on mouse over or, on click, on submit. So you can actually Google about event listeners. And there are like lots of functions which we generally use. So this on click is or on submit, there are just examples of event listeners. So this on click is associated with the button element. Yeah. Okay. Come back to my
If there are any errors, will it not display on the console board?
yeah, actually there, yeah, it will display, but if there's like any JavaScript error, so there's no JavaScript error here. It just seems like this event listener is not correctly firing. So for example, like let's say if I do some syntax error in this JavaScript code, say
Mm.
I wrote let a equals to nothing and I just leave like this, then it will give an error on the console. You go back, I yeah, okay. I mean, that is not happening, but it generally gives
Or
if you give
in the Sublime text, are we supposed to select any JavaScript before writing our code? Because last time I remember selecting Python and then started writing a code in Python. So is it something like that? Are we supposed to select anything before writing the code here?
I didn't get your question. Can you come again?
So whenever I open Sublime text before writing any code, I usually select if it is in Python or Java or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
So is it
Yeah,
because
so
of
no, no, that's not it. So, we generally do that because we want to explicitly tell the editor that we are writing the code in this particular language. Yeah, but
Mm,
if you, let's say, if you are writing a Python code and you wrote some code and you saved it with .py extension, then it will
mm,
automatically know that it's a Python file. Similarly, like here before starting the coding, I saved it like with .html extension. So Sublime Text knows that this is an HTML file.
mm.
Hmm. Hmm. Mhm. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, what happened to Chrome? It's not opening.
It's in the other screen. I'll just give it.
Hmm. Well,
Now you can.
just open this one.
Oh, I guess that page is in Safari.
Okay. Open this in Chrome. Paste. Okay.
So we do not use any dollar in JavaScript, right?
No, dollar, we use it in jQuery. So
Okay.
that is a different story.
Mhm.
jQuery, we use it sometimes also. You can learn about jQuery. It's a JavaScript library which helps us to do certain things. Okay, what's going on here? Mhm. We can try this window of submit, but this should not have been used because the DOM has already loaded.
What is it? Someone, I didn't get you.
Yeah, so I was trying this window.submit. But this should not be used because we are not calling the submit straight on the loading of this, sorry, of the document. We will be calling it once we click on it. So at that point of time, the document will be loaded. So, okay. Okay. Let's change this. Okay. I got where the issue was. So, we enclosed it is this in the form, right? So that's why it was treating this entire entity, including the button, as like one entity. And since it was trying to, once we have given the name for this first input as first name, so basically when you click on submit, it was basically trying to find out what the first name was. That's why when we were trying to do it, if you do it without the first name, you'll see that in the URL instead of the first name, it just doesn't show anything. Let's
Okay.
do this. Yeah, and that's where the error comes. So I think if you don't enclose it within the form tag, then this should not be an error. Yeah. So this is
So,
like some of the very intricate pitfalls of JavaScript. Sometimes,
yeah,
you keep on.
form tag, we already used form tag here after the last submit button, right?
Mhm.
So, should we use form tag everywhere, like for every element, first name, last name, and all?
No, 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 no. It should be for like for one entity. So inside a form there can be multiple input elements. It's more like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So because this is like one form, right? And yeah, there's no need to like put a form tag for everything.
Mhm.
Anyway, so let's start with the validation. So we write another function here. Function, say validate first name. Name. Right. So what we want here is that let's say the first name should not be empty and the first name should not exceed the length of 30 characters. We
Okay.
want to check like that. Okay. So uh, if let's say name dot length is not 0 and name dot length is not greater than 30, I mean less than 30, then return true, return, sorry, return false. A fairly simple code, right? And now we have to, uh, now the first thing that we need to do in order to get this validation is to get this name. right? Whatever we are putting as input here in the first name, we
Mm.
need to get it here. So as I said, you can also do document.registration.first name, but I first want to show you with ID because this is something that we use quite often, more often than this registration.name. So,
Okay.
ID and class, like in CSS, ID and class, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that same ID we are attaching here as attribute. We just gave it an ID name, let's say first name, and in the submit button, let's define a variable. Let name first to document dot to get element by ID, have first name. Yeah, and now what we want to do now that we have the name, what we want to do is we want to send it to our function to see if it's true or not. So let first names validate things to
We're
validate.
already validating here in the function validate first name, right? So why are we
Yeah.
writing it?
So we're calling that function from this because submit is the main function which gets called when you click the button.
Yeah.
And from here, you need to validate individually all the fields, right? And we can also do it within the submit also, like we can write this logic inside the submit function also. But let's say if the form is bigger, then in that case, it will not look very good. Like the code will not be clean. So
Okay.
that's why we segregate it into different functions.
So all these, whatever script we are writing within the
Hmm.
script tags, can we write it after the body in the form?
Yes, yes, we can write it after the body. Yeah, yeah, you can write it after the body. So let me just do it right now. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, it comes with script loading. It works. I have to. Yeah, script loading. So it works
But
even outside the box. Like you can also write it here.
what is that script loading there? I didn't get what. Okay. We're given the name, right? Okay.
Yeah. So once we have the name, now we just need to call this validate function. And if the first name validation is true, then we alert form submitted. Otherwise, we do. So
Mm.
if first name validation, Yeah, okay. So our script is ready. One more thing we do here is we just console log the name in case, just for debugging purposes, if we get any error. And now let's do it. Um, okay, something like let's first try the happy path. Okay, just say script loading. Okay. 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 Let's do it. The script tag, this function is not getting called again. We just
Yeah.
put it back there to see if it gets called.
After that change, we didn't save it. I
This one? No, I saved it. We didn't make any change here. So, it's been loaded. So, okay, yeah. Hmm. Okay, that's fine. Hmm. Hmm. So while moving, I think we have made something smaller somewhere. So, okay, let's do one thing. Just remove the changes like this. These things. Why? Hmm. Strange. Okay. Right. So the conflict was happening due to the form tag. Not
Okay.
sure what at this point of time because okay, maybe we are using on submit and that was conflicting with the on click event handler. That might be a possible cause. We will see for it later on because getting a lot of time is getting wasted that way. Um, so it's, Okay, cool. So yeah, let's again write our function quickly. Mm, validate name. Um, Sadika, do you have to do anything after this? Like, can I get like maybe half an hour extra? Because
Yeah,
there
yeah,
are lots of, yeah, lots of things there, and we just got a little bit, we got a setback, so I just need to cover that.
okay.
Mm,
What do you want to continue tomorrow? I mean, is it like 1 hour class or how does this work?
yeah, we can also do that. Given that my meeting doesn't come up, which I yeah, let's see. If it comes up, I'll let you know.
Mm.
So ID is first name, name, first document, sorry, name. Yeah. Let's see if this works. Okay, so we get the false here. Mm, giving us false. Yeah, so it returned false. See why it is. Did you get the name correctly? Okay, sorry, I got it. So since document dot get element by ID returns as an object, and we have to get the value from it. That might be the reason.
It says
Now it's true.
true.
I submit a blank one. Would be false. Yeah. Now it works. So yeah, so in this way, at least we are able to validate the first field, which is the first name. So will you be able to create functions for the rest of the fields, like function validate last name?
Okay.
Um, and in
Le-
order to get the last name, you attach an ID to here in this input box.
mhm.
So let's do it. The same. The validation will be same, or maybe for last name you can keep the length of the name should last name should be less than 20, and it should not be zero. Like it should not be empty. That's the
Okay.
do validation. Yeah.
Here should I also write let name equal to this thing, right?
Sorry, where?
Here in the submit button place.
Yeah. So you can change the name to first name, that variable, or maybe leave it because we are using it later on. But you can write let last name equals to and then
Get
get
the
it by the ID.
yeah. Here it says submit is not defined on submit.
Okay, on submit is not defined. Yeah, it might be not defined in the script, but HTML, but it's defined in the script. At least it's getting called. Oh, okay. You have, okay, fine. What happens when you run it?
So it's showing an error here. It's
No, no,
showing.
go to console.
Okay.
Identifier name has already. Oh, okay. So go back to your code.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have declared the same variable two times. We can't do that. So in the submit function, on
Um.
submit, no, in the on submit function.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, you see let name. So yeah, we
Yeah.
can't define the same variable twice. The best we can do is override the variable, or yeah, we can change the name of the variables.
Relax. This will work.
Yeah, one more thing, like whenever you name a variable, you should always use camel case.
Okay.
Yeah, so n should be capital. I'm like it doesn't really matter much, but when you go for your job at that point of time, you require to adhere to coding standards. So if you have the habit of using the camel case, then it works.
Okay.
Yeah, and in the console log, no, go back to the code. It's not over yet.
Oh,
Yeah, console log. You have to call the validate last name and pass the last name to it.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
change the function.
Mm,
Instead of validate name, you have validate last name.
validate name. Okay. Here, validate name,
Yeah.
last name.
Yeah, no, no.
It,
Validate name would call the validation function for the first name. You wrote it for validate last name, right?
yeah.
So we want to call that function.
So is it validate last name?
Yeah. No, not that way, not that way. Look. So we wrote this right.
Okay.
So
The same.
we want it here because we want to call that function.
L isn't capital. Okay, I have to change that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, let's save this and now you can see if it works.
I guess this L looks capital here, but I'm
Mm.
giving L small and the smaller one here. So I should change that, I guess. No?
Sorry, in the L in the function name, right? It's capital.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, got it.
So you can
Should I?
check if it works. Yeah, yeah, it's true, right? Now remove the word from the last name and submitting it. Yeah, now
Okay.
it's false, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the validation for the last name works. Now we have to write a validation for phone number. Okay, so we know how to get the value from the input box. That's by ID and then document dot get element by ID dot value. So we get the phone number from there. But the condition is that we should not enter any, what should I say, like any characters. It should always be some kind of number, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how can we actually validate that the input is actually a number? So in JavaScript, you have got, there are like two ways to validate this. Let me show you. Um, you go to the console. Here, one you can do is you can write type of. So let's say that let a equals to, let a be a number. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and let b be not a number. Maybe 1, 2, 3, a, b, c, something like, sorry, 1, 2, 3, a, b, c. So that's P. So one way we can validate is by using a function called isNaN. So it stands for is not a number. So if a value for a variable is not a number, then we know that it's not a number, right? And the other way around is to use type of. Like if you want to know, so for example, if a variable contains some number, then the type of that variable should be number, right? And if it contains some string, then a type of it should be string. That's another way to check. Let me show you both of them. Let's say a is a number. So if I write is nan a and give it, is nan is not defined. Okay. A dot is what was the function? We will first show you the type of them. Type of A should come out to be number, and type of B should come out to be string. So that is one way to differentiate between if a variable has number or if it has a string. The other one is with nan. Let me check. Um, how do you, is I'm calling the right function? Yeah, it's nan. Oh, okay, I got it. So it should be is NaN, like N-A and then a capital N. Yeah. So is nan is false because this is like is not a number, but this is a is a number. That's why it's false. And if you write if is NaN for B, it gives you true because it's a string. That's why. So these are the like two ways you can use to differentiate between if the input is a number or if it's a string. So you can either use type of or you can use isNaN function.
Mhm.
So can you implement this in your code? Like for the phone number, we just need to write a validation function where we need to differentiate whether it's a number or it's a string.
Yeah. Should I just write number here?
Mm, yeah, you can. That's a variable name. You can give anything.
Mhm. Um, can I directly write is nan or should I define?
Yeah, you can directly write also, but here our intention is to like return true or false based on the condition, right? So
So
we may better use if else here.
okay. If um how should I define like if phone number equal to something like number?
Yeah, so if so we will be getting this number. So if it is nan equals to let's say false,
Oh,
then
I
it
will not.
means that yeah is
If
nan and pass this is nan is a function. No, no, is nan is a function. Pass it to the number.
mm, should
No,
I
I
write?
mean yeah, it's already defined. No, 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 like that. It's not. You don't have to define is nan. It's already
Okay.
defined. Yeah. So all you have to do is just call this function. So you can yeah, let me you can write it like this is nan and pass this number. It will return some result if the result is false. Then we do something
Mm.
else. We do something. Now you can fill it up. So if it's false, then we just console log false.
Okay.
Oh no, sorry, return false or else return true.
Mm.
Yeah, and now get the phone number.
Phone number, right?
No, you left quotation like after that.
Mhm. I'm supposed to give this one. Okay. It's not taking string at all. Okay. It's not taking any other thing apart from number.
Yeah, because what? Okay, do one thing. Go back to your code, and in the phone number input type equals to number. Remove that. No, in the HTML code.
Here.
Yeah,
Okay.
input type equals to number. Just remove that type equals to number.
Okay. Yeah. Shows error.
Okay. Type error cannot read properties of null reading value. Okay. So it seems like okay, go back to your code. Yeah. So you have not given you have to give the ID for the phone number, right? Like
Mm,
last name you have given the ID in the HTML code.
okay.
Yeah, like in the last name you give an ID equals the last name. Similarly, you give for the phone number, you have to give some ID. Otherwise, the DOM will not know what is phone number. Yeah, save it. Yeah, and now check.
I guess.
Well, phone number is not defined. Okay, it seems like you did some spelling mistake somewhere.
Yeah. So now I have given phone underscore number here and then defining phone number. mm,
It says validate for. So can you go back to the error once?
sure.
Reference error. So click on that index.html65.
This one. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So it seems like you have done some mistake in that lines in line 65. It might be a spelling mistake. Can you do one thing? Copy the validate phone number function, the name of the function. Yeah, copy this and paste it here. You missed a V at the start. Try, yeah, save it and try now. Go to console. Your valid phone number is not open. Give me control. Let me check. That is because we missed this curly brace here. The function was not over. Yeah, so this is like another thing, like if you have been in Java, the error would have been different, like defining a function within a function. But in JavaScript, you can do that. That's why it didn't give you any error. Instead, it's showing, since it was inside a different function, it was showing that we can't reference it.
Okay.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C. 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C. Okay, it's coming to be true.
We have written the reverse condition problem.
Yeah, yeah. And this will be true, and this will be false. Yeah. So this should work.
Yeah, it says
Yeah.
false.
Okay, works now.
Yeah.
Right. Now comes to the email address. Now, how will we validate if it's an email address or not?
So it should also accept characters in email address, special characters.
Yeah, it should. So. mm, No, okay. The thing is like we generally validate email addresses using regex. Regex is like regular expression in JavaScript. Yeah, but if I start giving regular expression is like it's a different topic altogether. So I don't want you to go there because you will get distracted. So let's leave email address for now, but you can learn, like you can check it here. Regex. Yeah, JavaScript. Yeah. Now, you might be wondering what is a regex. Do you know what is a regex? Like something like this.
All the special characters.
Yeah, no, it means a certain thing. So a regex is like it's a way of matching. In your college, have you read about theory of computation? Like you have, um, automata.
No.
Yeah, so the regex kind of works like that. So you give an input and it basically checks like if the input matches a certain thing. So
Okay.
instead of like because in an email there can be a lot of things to check, right? First thing to check would be that if there's an @ or not. Second thing to check would be, now for example, you have there can be numbers as well. Okay, after the @, okay, there can be some text also. Okay, so these things when you have to check, So the best way to do it is to use a regular expression. You can also write like the code for it, that it should contain at the rate, that it should contain that. But yeah, a more better way is to use a regular expression. So anyways, for us, ours, what we can do is that we keep it very simple. Okay, we will check that if you are entering an email address, it should contain an at the rate. Let's keep it to this one. Okay. Um, so like whatever string we enter, it should contain some at the rate.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes it simple. But remember that whenever, if let's say you are asked to do to check if the email address is correct, the format is correct or not, never ever you use this like at the rate. Always use regular expression. Okay, now coming to yeah, how you're gonna do this, like whether a string contains at the rate. So let's say if I define right a equals to something rate gmail.com. Okay. So what you can do is that you can use this function a dot includes. Um, yeah, includes and then pass the character to this. So it says true, right? Because a contains this thing. Now if you write a equals to just something without at the rate and write a dot includes um, at the rate, then it will return false.
Okay.
So you can use this function. So you can write this validation now.
All right. Um, um, Should I mention anything like name?
Okay, sorry, I was speaking on mute. Yeah, your name is not that much important. Like if you're using form, then you can
Mm,
use name.
okay.
And I kind of understood why our submit function was not getting called earlier. So that was because when you click on form, sorry, when you use form, so it whatever data that you are sending, it tries to create a get request out of it, and that's why it was appending it to the URL. So you might see that after index.html there was some a question mark and then first name equals to something it was trying to write. So what it was doing is that once you submit, it was redirecting the page to a different URL. And that's why our current context of JavaScript was getting lost.
Um,
So that's fine if you're using, if you want to, like, if you have a form and when you want it, that if you click on submit and it moves to some other page or something, then that's fine. But if you want to make keep it on the same, page, then that is a problem. That's why I removed the form tag.
Okay. Um, should I write email dot includes or
Yeah, the email dot includes. Yeah.
mm,
No, no, no. So not like that. So first is you have to call the includes function. The includes function will return whether it's true or false, right?
yeah,
And what you want the includes function to tell you is whether it contains at the rate or not. So you
okay.
should pass this at the rate as a parameter to that function.
Okay. So
So what
here
you
just let
No. So just like you did in is nan, and then
mm,
you have this bracket open, and then you are passing number as the parameter. So
yeah,
similarly, email dot includes, then you will open a kind of a first bracket, and then pass the parameter email to it, and then check what is getting returned. Yeah,
should I write in
email. Sorry, no, at the rate. Yeah, at the rate should be, it's a string, so it should be in a single quote or double quote.
okay. Then this should be true, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, no, not there.
Okay.
No. Yeah, that works. No, 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 no. You have opened a curly brace after if, right? So you have to close it before returning false.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I just now that you have already written a lot of if else statements, okay, when you will write production grade code, when you will be working at that point of time, no one writes code like this. Generally, college graduates like code like this. So if I have to do the same thing, I would do something like this. So return email dot includes just this. Okay,
Okay.
because any yeah, because it will return true or false only, right? So so instead of like if it's true, then return true. It doesn't make sense. Just return true. And for this one, I would write it like this. Return is then number. If it's true, sorry, yeah, if it's true, then return false. Otherwise, return true.
Um,
Ternary condition.
okay.
You're familiar with this, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this is like a more clean. Oops, this is like a more clean way to write the code. Uh,
Okay.
so yeah, just make it a habit. Going forward, try
Mm.
to use it.
So can I just remove this one? Wait at that one is man. Yeah. Oh, you have removed the one
Yeah,
whatever you have.
you can also
Oh,
remove this one, or you can leave it with it.
mm.
Yeah, but if it is a return statement, remove the like the if statement below.
Okay, so for this I can directly remove this one
Yeah,
and just
yeah.
add this. Here should I write true or false? True
No, no,
and then
not required.
not
Not
false.
required because email dot includes will return you true or false, and then you return that result.
Because here we are not mentioning anything, right? How will it show true or false?
No, it won't show true or false. See, this when you are doing this method call, right? Email
Mm.
dot includes. So this will return something. It will return either true or it will return false. So
Okay.
your
If it
return statement.
Yeah, got
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So your return statement will just return whatever is returned.
Okay.
Yeah, and the last bit is remaining. You have already added the ID. Just get it in here, like let email equals to document dot get element by ID, email address dot value.
Okay. Don't we should also include ID, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's already there. No, no, this is present address. You are doing for email address.
Okay. For present address.
We haven't reached present addresses. We were doing it for email address.
No, I thought you are asking to continue with the address one to then we'll check.
Yeah, no, no. Present address, there's nothing to check. One thing you can check is that it should be not zero, like it should not be empty. That's the only thing.
Okay. So
And present address validation is not required. The idea behind this assignment was to show you like how we connect HTML and JavaScript, and how like simple HTML does not do much, but if you connect it with JavaScript, then there's a lot we can do.
yeah.
Um,
Okay. Oh, it's showing error again. I guess the same thing.
yeah, so so after the else statement of validate phone number, you have closed the else statement, but you haven't closed the function. Yeah. And remove that one.
This one?
Yeah, not right.
False. Okay. It shows, why is it showing false now? It includes at the rate, right?
Mm, sorry, what oh, I lost it. Yeah. Yeah, it's
Oh,
showing false. Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
If I don't. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So now let's wrap up this with a very simple thing. So what I'm going to do is, now we have got all the things. We are checking name, first name, last name, phone number, and email address. So if everything is fine, which is like if name and last name and phone number and email address. If all, everything is fine, then let's show a message that form can be submitted. Okay, you got what I did here, right? So now what we are doing is we are getting this name and last name. So everything is like if all the things are true, okay, which means our form is all good. So in that case, we can show this one, like all looks good form can be submitted. And if it's not the case, then we should tell them to fill the form correctly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so inside this if statement, this should be true, this should be true, this should be true, and this should be true because they are all ANDed, right? So even if like one of them is false, then the entire condition becomes false and it goes to the else statement. Okay.
Okay.
Let's give some name, last name, a phone number, 226, address. So it says form submitted. Mm, okay, why does it say form submitted? Shouldn't say that. What about this detailed information? Hmm. Didn't enter the if statement. It also didn't enter the else statement. Oh, okay. You may have not reloaded it. Maybe.
Oh,
Yeah. Now, if you mess up something here, then you will see.
oh, looks
Mm,
good. From
mm,
okay, I'll let
mm.
this pop in.
Okay, so it seems like the phone number validation might be something. So let's debug this. So
Why are we writing phone number in console.log?
I want to come in.
Why are we writing everything again in console.log?
Why are we writing console.log? Is that a question?
And no, why are we writing phone number, name, and all these again in console.log? We have already
Again,
did it before, no? During the script loading.
no, at that point of time, we just log script loading, right?
Okay.
We were not checking like what value is getting into each variable. So actually, I don't have to write it. And there is something called debugger in the Chrome Dev tools, so I can debug it from there. But for now, uh, I'm just writing it for so that you get a very clear understanding.
Okay.
Okay, I have already written phone number, last name. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I understood. So we are not calling this validate, right?
Yeah.
We have to call these functions. So it should be something like validate name. Mm, what happened? Yeah, validate name and pass the name to it. Then we have validate last name. Yeah, looks good now. Let's see now. Let's fill the form correctly. And I change it here. Also here. Now it works.
Yeah.
So that's all for today. And so now that you have seen like how to connect the HTML with JavaScript, maybe you can try writing the HTML for building the calculator and then associate each button with JavaScript to do the calculations.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can feel free to like there if you see calculator using JavaScript, you will find a lot of like tutorials online, maybe on YouTube or something. You can,
Yeah.
or you can find resources on Google. So you're free to follow that, follow that and see if you can build one. Now that like you will be able to follow those tutorials because now you have written this JavaScript and HTML. You're seeing how it gets connected. So the code that they will write will look very familiar to you now.
Okay.
And if you face any issues, just let me know.
Sure.
So that's it. Now from tomorrow, okay, I think we are good to go. Yeah, just one more thing I wanted to. So you have this document.get element ID, right? So
Yeah.
far we have just used by ID. So there are like other things also. For example, get element by class as well. So if you have HTML elements to which you are defining the CSS class, so and if you want to, let's say, manipulate the elements which has the same class, then you can just use get element by class, and from there you can get it.
Okay.
Yeah. So document dot get element by ID first name. This returns an object. So let me show it to you here only. So if I write here document dot get element by ID first name. Yeah. So you see this. Okay. I think just time to a variable. Okay. So this is the input element, and that's what you're getting. But in generally, this is not how it looks like. Like in the dev tools, just for simplicity, they're doing this. With console log here, we'll be able to understand better. So let's say that okay, for some reason it doesn't show this input tag, but actually it's not the case. So what happens is this document dot get element by ID email address, it fetches you a kind of an object. Okay, and in that object, one of the keys is value. And that's why when you access that object using dot value, you get the value for that input element.
Okay.
Yeah, so just remember it. I don't know, like there's some upgrade to the dev tools. That's why it's showing this input tag, but actually it contains an entire object with it. Okay, so we are good to go with. Yeah, we've told about document by element by class, by ID. We have seen it. Okay, we have created a simple form. What else? Yeah, I think we have pretty much covered some very basic JavaScript, and we are good to continue with React now. So So what do you want to do? Like tomorrow, do you want me to start with React, or do you want me to get into a little bit more of JavaScript?
React will work maybe. I'm not sure.
Hmm.
I don't know much about it.
Yeah, so that's fine. So we'll, because in React also we will be working with JavaScript only. That's why I generally ask not to focus too much on JavaScript straight away. Just know the basics and go into React, because in React also we will be working with JavaScript only. So whatever we have not learned here, we'll learn there. So, so yeah, okay. We will start with JavaScript from. Sorry, we'll start with React from tomorrow. We'll just try to create a very few simple components and see how it works. Okay, okay then. Have a good day, Sadika.
Thank you, you too.
Okay, bye.